Hi, welcome to the Vibe of the Weekend on the 10th of September 2021 still. So let's have a look at what's going on for most of us for the vibe of the weekend. Take what resonates, which will be probably quite a lot for most of us at this current time. So let's just have a look what is the vibe. Plus we're going to have a look at the love connections, the soul connections for most of us as well. Okay, so what's coming up for us this weekend? Let's have a look. So we have the first aspect is the Knave of Cups. Oh, beautiful card. So a lot of us could be socializing. The Knave of Cups is about expanding ourselves on a social level, learning how to inspire ourselves with our emotions. So some of us will be getting together with friends and family and learning how wonderful that actually is. You can see the wolf here and the girl, and they're very loyal to their family, and tribe and family are very important. So if you can get together with family and friends, it will be really good. But for some other of us, we need to explore our emotions. We need to find out what deeper meaning to inspire ourselves really is coming about, and in the areas of that is the Six of Cups. So sometimes when we are with our families, we can look at the past memories. So sometimes we can be a little bit idealistic as well about exes. So when we have the Knave of Cups here, it's about inspiring ourselves to move forward. It's a new lease of life. So sometimes the Six of Cups can be a little bit idealistic about holding on to certain exes. So this is why we can see to inspire ourselves to move forward and find new situations is important. And sometimes the way we do that is going back to family to see how our parents have done it, our guardians have done it, our friends and family, and all those interwoven relationships. So when we really peel back their relationships, we can see they're not that perfect. So it is a learning experience that we actually have to learn for ourselves. And this is about peeling away idealistic thoughts of, oh, that perfect person in that perfect scenario. So when we actually look at, the ex, they were fine, everything was fine, one has to look at ourselves. And this is where this learning process does come into its entirety, into knowing that we need to understand ourselves first on that love level. So it's beginning to really understand that the balance between what we've known as a child and the memories that we've had when we felt safe and secure, if we are lucky enough to have that, is a memory that sometimes is superimposed on somebody else because we're reflecting to that person, and that person isn't who we think they actually are. So when we do get the Six of Cups, we do have to release that kind of idealistic way of thinking. Does that make sense to you? So we've also got the Queen of Pentacles. So this is a great time to put down roots and to really nurture what we do want. So those of us who are really wanting that deepened, committed relationship, one has to turn to the way we've been nurtured, and are we still nurturing ourselves as spiritual beings? So again, it's understanding where our heart is actually lying, and to be able to put in the practical stance. It's that nourishing from the ground upwards to actually be able to do that. So it's very inside, very much like the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth is all giving and all generous to those about us. If you can think of how mushrooms and fungi grow, they're underneath is that whole web of nourishment that pops up. And this is very much like what's inside of us. We can nourish ourselves and have unconditional love. like a mother does. But we have to learn that and not be too idealistic about that. And that's why I said, when you look at the family around you this weekend and people in different relationships, we can look from the outside, but what is it truly like on the inside? So are we being very protective of the idealistic dream that we think the ex is going to come back? All those kind of things, or idealistic, this perfect person is out there to kind of sweep me off my feet and make everything right. Now, sometimes we have to learn these things with this card to understand that what we're really looking for is what's inside. We cannot recognize that perfect relationship, and it will be there. That perfect relationship is always going to be with ourselves and how we trust ourselves. If we trust ourselves fully, then we have been the right Mother Earth to nourish those kinds of aspects, to be able to understand that what we are trying to do is nourish that inner child. So our inner child, both these cards together are the inner child of the Mother Earth. So you are all these things in the one. But when we realise that, and sometimes it's a little bit sad when we've left that inner child behind, and they do need that nourishment and kind of, loving. So be very kind to yourself when you're thinking, oh, I'm not in a relationship, I'm not in that perfect circumstance, and to protect yourself in actually learning to understand the big bad world, so to speak. So it isn't bad. It's just that sometimes we want the old habits. So it's better the devil you know than you don't is one of the sayings people tell themselves. Oh, that's why they keep wanting the ex back. But in reality, if you nourish what's already there, to understand on a greater level that what you put in is what we're actually getting out of the situation. Does that make sense? So, as well as that, the last aspect is the Queen of Swords. So when we look at the Queen of Swords as well, it's a kind of cutting away that idealistic way of thinking. So on a universal level, this has to happen. You know, sometimes with a lot of things we've been told with media and all sorts of things, especially from exes or especially from that relationship that you no longer want in your life. One has to stand up as the sword of truth, the justice person, the woman of justice. Peace and justice is one of the things that can happen when we have the Queen of Swords. So to be able to understand and cut out unnecessary things is to focus on the reality of the situation. So beginning to really understand who we are as people, it is a giving of love, a giving of understanding, having a look at compassion and empathy, but to ourselves. And when you see that, you'll be able to recognize it so much more in the right partner. So hopefully that makes sense. So just before we go, we're going to have a look at the soul connection of what kind of aspects are we really trying to understand on a soul level, on a universal level for this particular weekend. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. So what we need to all understand is to be open. Open to the possibilities that love and opportunities on all levels does come to us. So by being open, we're exposed. And to be exposed, some of you will feel very vulnerable. And it's about the Six of Cups again, about realising the safety of the inner child within the mother, within when it comes out of the womb, of that safety, that it has to learn all these aspects of understanding what it is to be loved, to be secure, and to be safe. So when we are open to these possibilities, we're receptive. And this is a very yin way of doing things. And perhaps that's why the two queens did come out today. The Queen of Swords and also the Queen of Pentacles. To be open is to receive. So unless we are open and being very honest with the person in front of us and ourselves when we talk to ourselves about certain things, then we're not going to be exposed or receptive to what we do want in life. So being open, it's just like an open book about all the information's there. So everything you do need to know about you and partners and every other situation is that we have to learn to be open to these possibilities. So learning to be receptive and learning a lot of things about the passion and understanding, empathy, and just honesty about what is within our heart. So sometimes being very truthful and honest, like the Queen of Swords, the Sword of Justice, has to be there, of understanding the knowledge, openness about where we are going. Does that make sense? You've probably switched off by now, haven't you? Anyway, hope you enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you again soon.